Vaccine is this light at the end of the tunnel, but we're still in the tunnel. We're far from that light. I worry that we're not acting that way, that we're rushing to get back to life as it was before. Restaurants are about to open next week, and they're sending back kids to school in person. For African Americans, I keep saying this is especially dangerous. We can't afford another spring and summer like we had last year. Carrie, I'm going to start with you.
That was the topic of this morning's show. And I was surprised to find out that as many African Americans really, they are ready. They just want more information on the vaccines. They will take the vaccine if in fact they are provided with, they want their questions answered. The truth is African Americans simply want to make sure that we're receiving the same quality health care that everybody else is receiving. And if we are, they are going to roll their sleeves up and take the shot when it's their turn, just like everyone else. They just need their questions answered. And I think that, you know, the medical community, especially the African Americans in the medical community, are doing a great job of trying to push that information out to the Black community to say, don't believe the hype, don't go conspiracy theorists, go get the shot when it's your turn.
I do want to talk a little about the Chauvin trial and what's next there. You've made a sentencing recommendation in Chauvin's case, and you've got more trials. You have more officers.
Yeah, we do. We have them, and they're all they're tough, and we're gearing and we're working hard on it. I have to say to everybody listening to your show, the 3 defendants remaining are presumed innocent until proven guilty. I want to be very clear. They have a right to a fair trial, impartial jury, and I stand by that. As a prosecutor, I'm not a minister of punishment. I'm a minister of justice. So I stand on that. So that's coming up, and I'm not going to be able to speak that much about those 3. That's happening in August 23rd. When it happens, the world will know. But as it relates to Mr. Chauvin, yeah, in Minnesota law, the second degree unintentional murder, which is the top count he was convicted of, carries with it a guideline sentence of 150 months. Yeah. And then in Minnesota, you do 2/3, right?
Right.
So it works out to 100 months, which is about 8 years, you know, inside. And then you do the rest on supervised release. We are arguing, and we have argued, and we are arguing now that there are aggravating factors in this case. One is that Derek Chauvin was entrusted with the power, prestige, and esteem of the police department. He was a person of trust and authority and used it in a way to effect a murder. So that drives us in the direction of greater level of accountability and culpability. George Floyd was particularly vulnerable. He was in a prone position, hands behind his back. There has been testimony that George Floyd had fentanyl in his system. That, in my mind, doesn't make it worse. It makes it worse for Chauvin. It makes him more vulnerable and greater need of care and concern by people who have rendered him helpless.
Reverend Watson, the leadership role that we see also changing and emerging for Black women. Talk about what's driving that change right now.
I believe that certainly Black women in ministry, spiritually rooted women, are the reason that there's such political change in the air right now nationally. There would not be a President Joe Biden, help me somebody, if there were not for Black women.
That's
Black
right.
women.
Yes.
All over Atlanta. One of my mentors is in Atlanta, and she told me directly how she ushered 60 Black women, church women, into the rural areas of Georgia, who were signed to get people in rural areas of Georgia to the polls to vote. And that has transformed this country. And the reason we're all receiving a stimulus right now is because of those Black church women.
Sean Robinson, welcome to American Black Journal and welcome home to Detroit.
Thank you, Stephen. I love being a part of anything my city is doing. Anytime I get to visit in person or virtually, I'm in. So thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, yeah. So of course you've had a really, really remarkable career in Hollywood, but this new work is kind of a different turn.
So, first of all, I actually started my career in Detroit, WGPR, Channel 62, a long, long time ago. But most people who know me nationally know me from Access Hollywood, where I spent 16 years covering the red carpet, and interviewing, all the celebrities in Hollywood. And I started thinking towards the end of that period what I wanted to do, what I wanted the next or additional chapter to look like. And I knew that I wanted to be a content creator, to produce content. And, as journalists, we're really producers at heart because we've had to, produce our own stories many times coming up the ranks, and we had to have a vision for our stories. And so a friend of mine who worked at Essence Magazine at the time, this was back in 2016, told me about a galley of this book, Lust, that he received. It had not reached store shelves yet. It had just, the galley came to his desk. And he said, Sean, it's written by author Victoria Christopher Murray. She's writing each of the 7 deadly sins. And the first one, Lust, is about to come out. You should call her and option the entire series. And so that's what I did. I knew Victoria, so I called her up and optioned these books. And I kind of pitched them around town. I knew that I wanted to make them into movies. And it was, a year of really pitching. And then what happened was Bishop T.D. Jakes did a partnership with Lifetime, who I'd also pitched the books to. And he, through his producing partner, called me up and said, Sean, you remember those books that you pitched to us about a year ago? Do you still have them? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, Bishop T.D. Jakes would like to executive produce them with you for Lifetime. And I was like, yeah, okay.
It made me very happy to be from Detroit because Detroit support me so well. I couldn't do no but win because I love the feeling, I love the feeling, I love the emotion that Detroit put into everything for me. They showed me what it was like to be a champion in Detroit. And once I learned what it was like to be a champion in Detroit, it's just a wonderful thing, a great feeling.
Actually, I didn't really know that much about boxing except for Muhammad Ali, because when I started high school, he won the Olympics. He got the gold medal in 1960. So that's what got me aware of boxing as a sport. I followed his career because I thought he was so interesting. And then when I got involved myself in boxing, working with Tommy Hearns and the Kronk Gym in 1978, I was impressed at how much I thought Thomas Hearns reminded me of Muhammad Ali. His slick moves, his dominance in the ring, his personality. Although he wasn't making up poems and rhymes, I could see a similarity in their greatness.
I really want to talk to you about the role that gospel music plays, in your church, which has this incredibly rich history because of Aretha Franklin being in the choir there as a child, and of course growing up in that church. But I also just want to talk about it more broadly and the role that the music plays in our faith in Detroit and in the Black community.
Well, certainly, if you are a student of history, you know that the slaves only made it by singing. My grandmother taught me the same thing. She would give me a task. I would hate doing it. I would stand there crying, trying to get through. And she said, listen, get your song. If it's just in your heart, even if it doesn't come from your lips, sing that song and you'll be through before you know it. And singing is a great reliever. It helps us to escape the agony of life in many ways. But Roy Jones said the only difference in the gospel and the blues was that one you called on your baby, the other you called on God, but the hope was the same. You would find relief in doing so.